Mike, okay. What's up, family? We are working on some things. I'm at the church, Hope Fellowship Church, the Victory Center, and we are working on some things. I know you did not expect to see me on tonight, but I'm happy to be able to share. Our technicians are running through some stuff. I'm doing some recording that I have to send to other ministries, and so we're doing some stuff on relationships that I have to send to another ministry. And while I'm doing that, I just wanted to share something with you all real quick while they were working on some technical things. And so, can I talk to the single people for just a minute? The single people, the single, not the whole single, saved and satisfied and all that. I don't want to hear all of that. Can I just talk to the single people for just a minute? Because I think it's very important. I've been doing relationship stuff all weekend. I did some stuff in Tampa on Saturday, and now I'm recording some things for my friend Bishop House in Vegas now. And so that's what's kind of in my spirit. And I wanted to say a couple things to single people, because one of the problems of church is that we treat married people as if they're on a higher tier than single people, that single people are a second-class citizen. And I want y'all to know that that's not true. You're just in a different stage. You're just in a different stage, and marriage is not necessarily better than being single. You're just in a different stage. So I want to say a couple things really quick while they're working on some stuff to single people. Here's the first thing. If you are single, the first thing I want you to understand is you should be living. You should be living. You are living single. Y'all remember that show? You are living single. You should be living. Listen, regardless of your relationship life, you should be living your life. Listen, if you are single, you are not in a holding pattern until you get married. You should not be holding off on goals. You should not be holding off on ambition. You should be able to take whatever job you want to take, live in whatever city you want to live in. Come on, live in whatever country you want to live in. You are not a person in waiting. So if you are single, I'm saying to you, live. I'm saying to you, live. I'm not talking about your dating life and all of that. I am saying build your life. Build your life. And if it's God's will for you to get married at some point, then God will have someone where you all can merge your two lives together. You may have to change some things and rearrange some things, but do not be a person who is in a holding pattern waiting to get married. So if you're single, you should be living. You should be living. Here's number two. Deal with your longings. Deal with your longings. Listen, how you feel about being single is connected to the reason behind your singleness. Let me say that again. How you feel about being single is connected to the reason behind your singleness. Here's what I mean. Listen, if you're single and you don't want to be, you're going to feel a certain way. If you're single and you want to be, and you want to be in a healthy, functional way, you're going to feel a certain way. And depending on how functional your singleness is will determine how you manage your longings, and even what kind of longings you have and how long the longings last. Some people, if they're functional and they don't have a good identity and they don't feel whole within themselves, then they'll have longings for companionship and longings for affirmation and longings for affection. And those are all natural longings. I preached in Hope Fellowship Church on yesterday that there's some stuff God is not going to take from you. It has to be managed. But the reality is you got to deal with your longings, and longings are real. Longings are real, just like there are some benefits and some, I won't say liabilities, but there's some benefits and there's some stuff about marriage that it's not bad, it's just different from being single. There are benefits to being single that you can't get when you're married. There are benefits to being married that you can't get when you're single. And you'll have to deal with the longings. And listen, longings are real and they vary in frequency and intensity. That's just a part of being single. You got to deal with the longings. You got to deal with the longings. You just got to deal with the longings. The longings are very real. The longings will happen, whether it's affection, whether it's attention, whether it is connection, whether it is sex. The longings are very, very real, and they'll vary in frequency, and you just got to deal with it. You just got to deal with it. There are some difficulties and challenges of being single, just like there are some difficulties and challenges of being married. You got to deal with it. So number one, you should be living. Number two, you got to deal with your longings. And let's talk about the sex thing for a minute. A lot of times, the sex thing is about, it's about connection that went to another place. It's about affection that went to another place. And when you're managing the whole sex thing when you're single, you got to understand that if I do this, it's going to lead to that. If I manage it this way, it's going to lead to that. And you got to know, can we just be straight, especially in this whole impromptu thing? You got to know in your single life what's going to lead to sex. You got to know that. And you got to protect yourself against that. You've got to know what's going to lead to sex. You've got to know, you got to manage your feelings. Sometimes you may have to say, hey, we don't need to see each other today. Not today. Not today. I ain't going to be able to do it today. I ain't going to be able to do it today. Because you already know that if you and the Holy Ghost try to double team the longing, y'all still gonna lose because you having one of those days. You just got to deal with it. You got to deal with it. You should be living. You got to deal with your longings. But here's the last thing. And preachers in all these 3 points, but I actually got 4, but I only got time for 3. Here it is. You should be learning. You should be learning. You should be learning about relationships. You should be learning about life. You should be, the longer you are single, watch this, the longer you are single, the more you should be prepared for being in a relationship. If you are not getting prepared, then you are wasting time. And here's the 4th thing. Listen, learn what to limit and learn what to leave alone. I ain't even got time to deal with all of that. When you're single, learn what to limit and then learn what to leave alone. So real quick, you should be living. Single people, you should be living. You should be dealing with your longings effectively. You should be learning. And you got to learn. One of the things you got to learn is what to limit and what to leave alone. Listen, share this with a single person that you know. Somebody needs this right now. Share this with a single person you know. I'm Pastor Derek Triplett, Hope Fellowship Church, the Victory Center, Daytona Beach, Florida.